going to read a tweet by Aisha Akambi. The inability to see the world beyond pro, anti, left, right, good, evil is a cognitive distortion which psychology recognizes as a mental condition. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're good, hope you're well. So today I wanted to talk about something. I've been wanting to talk about it for a while, right? It's been on my mind, but I didn't really know how to package it until I came across this phrase. So hopefully I'm using it correctly. The phrase is binary thinking. Binary thinking is what it sounds like. It is thinking that is binary. It's basically the belief or a way of thinking whereby everything is this or that. There's no fluidity in it. It's yes, no, right, wrong, good, evil, black, white. And I think it's killing my people. And with social media, which I feel like always plays a part, I feel like binary thinking has evolved into this belief that to agree with one thing someone says is to agree with everything that person believes, and vice versa. To disagree with something somebody says is to disagree with everything that person stands for. And if you agree with this thing, then you are in this particular group. And if you agree with this thing, then you are in this particular group, and there is no crossover. It seems like nowadays you're either, like with the political climate and stuff, you're either like a really snowflake kind of annoying lefty, or you are a racist conservative. And if you tick a box that group has decided is their box, then you are officially there. Does that make sense? So for example, I am black, therefore I must vote Labour. Let me just quickly say, disclaimer, I'm not giving any opinions of my own in this video, so don't try to come for me. I'm going to use loads of examples that come at my head, but at no point am I saying this is my opinion, okay? So please, when I say stuff, don't hear what I'm not saying. Quick disclaimer there. At its best, binary thinking can be annoying. It can be frustrating. At its worst, it can be dangerous. It can be extreme. It can be divisive. It can be a problem. But it can be dangerous because it's divisive and it forces people into extremes. Like, you said this, therefore you believe this. You said this, therefore you believe this. And then it makes those two extremes clash, where clash does not need to happen. Dialogue could have happened. And another problem with binary thinking, especially as it pertains to social media, is that it creates such fear in so many of us that we do one of a few things, which I'll get into. For me, for example, I sometimes I'll see a snippet of something, right? And in that snippet, I'm like, yes, agreed, love it. Let me share this. Only to then come back to that thing and think, let me look into this person that I just shared. And then I go through their feed, I go through whatever, and I'm like, ooh, maybe I should delete that. I usually don't, but I'm like, maybe I should delete that, because if I, let's say, I don't know, Candice Owens post I see a snippet of something about her, I didn't know who she is, and I'm like, oh my gosh, love this, repost, and then now I've already been labeled, because just by posting this snippet, which I agree with, it means I agree with every single thing that she stands by. That is not true. That never needs to be the case. And I honestly believe it should be okay for us to agree with parts of somebody and parts of somebody's opinion without necessarily standing by their whole flipping brand. And vice versa. Just because I love somebody, just because I'm for them, I'm a biggest fan, it doesn't mean I have to agree with every single thing that they do. And it doesn't mean because they do something that I do not like, I have to cut out all support. Obviously, you know, use common sense. If they've done something that is really, like, you can't get past, it's really offensive, it's really problematic, cool, do you. But I'm just talking about, just because you stand by somebody's beliefs, maybe it's an activist or whoever, I don't need to agree with every single thing that you do, because how is that even possible? I've seen people correct other people for things that that person hasn't even said they believe or stand by. Like, someone might say something about them, I don't know, it's happened on my videos, like I'm talking about a specific topic, so I'm saying specific words, and then somebody has taken that, it's not negative, they've taken that and said, yes, I agree, that is why I did this, or they might say, oh, but actually you should have said it this way if blah 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 blah. And I'm thinking, sis, where in this think piece did I tell you that this is my stance on that other thing that you brought into the topic? I can't think of an example, but it's like, you've assumed that because I've said X, I believe Y. Because I said X, my whole worldview is Y. But I've just said X. Just because a lot of people who think X also think Y, that doesn't mean I'm one of those people unless I've explicitly said that I believe X and Y. Does that make sense? I just want to be me. Honestly, I just want to be me. I don't want to tiptoe around scared of saying something that might be slightly out of the box that other people have put me in, only to later be cancelled for stepping out of this box that I did not put myself in. You put me in this box without my consent. And because our thinking must be binary, I'm now in this box and you're cancelling me because I've said something that's out of your box. It's not out of my box. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Lizzo is a great example for this, yeah? I remember when it happened not too long ago. Lizzo is a celebrity, Lizzo is a big woman, and Lizzo is very confident, right? Big woman, confident, celeb. I don't think, in fact, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure she has said, I'm not a body positive, I'm not in that realm. I'm not trying to be a role model for big girls. I'm not trying to be an advocate for big girls. I am just me. I'm pretty sure she said that. Don't quote me. But as you do, binary thinking would say, no, Lizzo, if you have these characteristics, then you must be an advocate for this. You must be an ambassador for this. So then when she then came out and said, didn't even come out, she just posted on her story, doing a juice cleanse. I've been doing a juice cleanse. I feel great. She put before and after pictures. The chaos, the drama of people saying, I thought better of Lizzo. I'm expected so much more from Lizzo. How could Lizzo let the big girls down? Shut up. Lizzo didn't tell you that she was this person. And also, even if she was this person, you've decided that as a big girl, as a person who, even if she did, which I don't think she does, even if she was an ambassador for big girls, then she's not allowed to do a juice cleanse. She's not allowed to try to lose weight. She's not allowed to post before and afters because your subgroup of people have decided that this form of whatever is bad, it's toxic, it's wrong. Like, that's a kind of a new wave thing. I don't think that's fair. Why can't Lizzo be who she is and also do this juice cleanse and also post before and afters? Like, are we not kind of contradicting ourselves when we say let women do what they want to do?
I did the 10-day smoothie detox, and as you know, I would normally be so afraid and ashamed to post things like this online because I feel like as a big girl, people just expect if you are doing something for health, you're doing it for like a dramatic weight loss. And that is not the case. In reality, November stressed me the fuck out. I drank a lot. I ate a lot of spicy things and things that fucked my stomach up. And I wanted to reverse it and get back to where I was. I'm so proud of myself. I'm proud of my results. My sleep has improved, my hydration, my inner peace, my mental stability, my body, my skin, the whites of my eyes. Like, I feel and look like a bad bitch. And I think, like, that's it. I'm a big girl who did a smoothie detox. And I wanted to share that with you guys. I got exactly what I wanted out of it. And every big girl should do whatever the fuck they want with their bodies.
But I think there are reasons for binary thinking, okay? I don't think it's completely our fault if we think X and Y has to be X and Y. There are reasons for it. One of the reasons you could argue is that spectrum thinking, which is the opposite of binary thinking, which we'll get into, requires more brain power and therefore more, it takes more of your energy to think not a binary. Think about it, right? Some people even argue, I think I might be one of them, sometimes like an office job or like a really hard office job can actually be more physically tiring than a labor job that may be like working in a supermarket, for example, yeah? Because brain power, mental thinking, like really racking your brain actually makes you feel really tired, which was something I learned very soon after I got my first grad job. I said, what? I'm not even working in retail anymore. I'm not on my feet all day. Why am I shattered? And it's because you're using your brain all day. You're making difficult decisions. And you could argue that maybe if you're working in a physically tiring job that doesn't require you to make mental decisions as many mental decisions, that actually you might be less tired. Yeah, using that as an example. So with that thinking, of course, spectrum thinking is going to take more of your energy than binary thinking. Binary thinking is saying, okay, I believe this, and therefore here's a list of things I also believe. I believe this, and here's a list of things I also believe. It's easier than when you see stuff, when information comes at you, for you to decide, boom, that's what this is. Boom, that's what you are. Boom, you are this person. Another reason that I think binary thinking exists, and I think this is actually more of a reason, is peer pressure and mob mentality, which you guys have heard me talk about before. If it's easier to conform. If like it seems like the majority are saying no, if you stand by this, you must stand by X, and if you are part of this group, you must have this thought process. It is very hard to go against the grain. Example being, like, if you are somebody who advocates for like something to do with women's rights, right? If you were to do that and then you were to turn around and say, oh, you know what, I don't actually identify myself as a feminist, for example, crucifixion. You can't, because if you do X, people assume that you do Y, and the mobs have spoken, and don't you dare go against the mob, because we know what happens when you do that. It is much easier to conform to what the masses have said you have to believe, rather than thinking critically for yourself and expressing that thought outwardly, or expressing that opinion outwardly. I saw a tweet that said, do you know what, let me find it, because I need to say it word for word. So it says, if you live by the mob, you die by the mob. Be an individual as much as you can and form no blind allegiance to any movement, ideology, or group that is only accepting of you when you think according to their narrative, teachings, or values. True. You live by the mob, you die by the mob. And this whole blind allegiance thing, like, I can agree with this movement in terms of like what they're fighting for, but I don't have to agree with everything about the movement. I don't have to agree with the founders of the movement. I don't have to agree with all the supporters in the movement. Like, I can like not support this political party, but that one policy, I'm here for that. Do you know what I mean? It's okay to have bits, because like I said, if you allow people to box you in, I feel like you'll inevitably be turned on by the same people, because you might fall out of said box that you've allowed them to put you in. Or what can happen is you just disagree, but you dare not speak openly that you disagree. That is how we get things like the silent majority. Does anybody in the UK remember Brexit? Does anybody remember waking up to shock? Because I don't know about you, but I was pretty sure that nobody's voting leave. What are you talking about? Everybody that are here talking about this is voting remain. So what is there to be worried about? I'll tell you what there was to be worried about. The silent majority. Now, maybe it's the echo chamber that I follow, maybe it was whatever, but honestly speaking, ask anyone, yeah, I thought we were voting remain, because everybody seemed to be voting remain. Nah. And what I think happened is, the silent majority, the people who felt maybe that they couldn't openly speak. They call them shy Tories for the same reason, because like, socially speaking, and like, we live in a very liberal time, you couldn't really just come out and say, I'm voting leave, because everybody would label you as probably a racist or something like that. And yes, a lot of people who voted leave probably were racist, but probably not all of them, right? Some people may have had legit reasons for wanting to vote leave, maybe legit promises that they thought, would come to pass, blah, 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 blah. But they were silent because the mobs would have been ready to get them. But when it came down to it, when it came down to casting their vote, So what is the solution, I hear you ask? There are a few. What I mentioned before, the opposite of binary thinking is spectrum thinking. Let me just read a definition I found word for word. Spectrum thinking considers multiple options, alternatives, and possibilities that sit in the grey zone. So like I said, whereas binary thinking is like this or that, spectrum thinking is this or that, or this and that, or not this or that, or this, or let me come back to you. It's very much a spectrum, and I think that is the solution. Practice spectrum thinking more often than not. When you're tempted to label someone, and I'm not talking about, oh, you're labeling what they have said. I'm saying they've said X and therefore you want to label them as Y, or somebody that you have put in this box, this good box, says something and you automatically say it as good. That's another thing I've noticed is like people encouraging bullies. So there's some people who, they might be influencers, they might be whatever, and maybe in the past or in the present they hold views that you really stand by, they make you feel heard, blah blah blah, and now they're doing some distasteful things and you're out there backing them because you've just got this blind allegiance. Now, practice spectrum thinking. When somebody says something, think critically and decide for yourself what it is that you believe, or actually decide, I don't know, I'm quite neutral, I can see this side, I can see that side. Kind of already touched on that, but take people at their word and only their word. I hate hate's a strong word. No, I hate when people tell you something that you didn't say. I may have mentioned this in another video, but Grace Victory, thank God, she's good. She, if you know her, she was in a coma. She had COVID and she was in a coma, and she's out now, thankfully. And she said something along the lines of, they gave me a 5% chance of survival, but I made it. Something about her, like, I'm strong, I'm a fighter, blah blah blah. And then people come into the comments to say, what? So you're saying that people who didn't make it are not fighters? Is that what she said? Hear people's words and only their words. Don't mind read, don't assume, because when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. Be open to listening to other people's opposing opinions. I think it is a bit of a problem when you only surround yourself with people that agree with you. It's like, how do you know when you need to be corrected or challenged? And what we need to understand as well is that somebody disagreeing with your opinion is not synonymous with them disagreeing and rejecting you and your whole humanity and everything you stand by. Sometimes I think we have this belief that, oh, if somebody doesn't share this opinion, and maybe it's because of the opinion I hold quite highly, then it means like they hate me and they're gonna spit on my grave and they're denying me my whole humanity. And it's like, maybe it's not that deep. Maybe they just disagree with your opinion, and that's actually fine. There's actually quite a few opinions that I hold in high regard, that if somebody was to disagree with me, it's okay. It's okay. In fact, tell me why you disagree with me. Let me, open up my mind and let me make a judgment based on like all the opinions that I have heard. Finally, get over yourself. Not in a rude way. Yeah, maybe in a rude way. Basically, get over yourself. Like, you are not judge, jury, and executioner. You do not hold the keys to like what is right and what is wrong. There are some things, even to me, are binary because of my beliefs. Yeah, they're like, no, this is it. Yeah, and that's fine. But don't. It kind of goes into the point I made before, like, don't be making up rules for people, and if they don't stick by the rules, then it means that they're not what they said they were, but actually they are what they said they were. It's just that your definition of what they said they were is boxed. I always describe myself as neutral, and to be honest, like, I always kind of said it as a negative. Well, in my head it was more of a negative. So I realized I was neutral. I've always known I was neutral, but the Enneagram stuff, I'm a type 9. If you know about Enneagrams, I'm a type 9, and I'm like a peacemaker, but I'm quite neutral, right? So it's good when people are having arguments, blah blah blah, but I always will sometimes think of it as weak. It's like, Adella, make up your mind. Like, do you not have a stance on anything? Do you not like know what you believe? Are you so weak-minded? Kind of things I say to myself. But actually, maybe I'm just a spectrum thinker, which is the word I learned today. Maybe I'm a spectrum thinker. Maybe I just don't like blindly decide that this is what this thing means, or this is what this means about this person, and I look at other things like their intention, like expand on that idea, and that the fact that some people can hold two things can be true at the same time. I can think this and I can also think this, and the two don't have to clash just because this sits in this box, apparently this made up box, and this sits in another box. And me being a fluid thinker, I think that's why I really hate stuff like cancel culture. That's why I really hate it, because it's just so binary. Anyways, I've done a video on that. That is all I have to say on that topic. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, I really like hearing your opinions and your thoughts on my thoughts. And remember, your thoughts don't have to be binary. So when you leave a comment down below, it's okay for you to disagree with me. Don't hear what I'm not saying. And I'll see you in my next video. Like, comment, subscribe, and check out some of my recent stuff. Bye, guys.